Yeah, it absolutely shit it down last night. So much. So it'll be good to have a good look through modally and see if we've got any leaks as well. So. Hey. Hey, welcome. It's my first voiceover. I cut out the second garage door, exactly the same as the first. Put a heap of Sikaflex on the inside of the frame, and then pushed the frame into place and held it in place with some wood and a whole heap of clamps. From Bunnings, I grabbed a whole heap of rubber edging and it just pushes on. And just one more hot tip with this stuff. This little spongy bit, it's got to be on the outside. There's a hot tip for you. If you're careful, hammering it is a lot easier than pushing it on with your thumb. What I'm going to do here is the actual size of the opening is 1720 by 465, so just want about a centimetre either side. So I'm just going to knock off 2 centimetres off either side of that, measure that up, cut it up. I'm going to glue and rivet this, essentially just reinforcing or the frame. And go from there. I Sikaflex the extra long piano hinge to the top of the garage door and then later on rivet it all together. Here I'm just holding the door in place so the Sikaflex can dry, and then after it dries I put a whole bunch of rivets in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the correct height for this part of the gas strut, the attachment, and I'm going to put it in as high as I possibly can so that the gas strut won't hit the roof of this lining. I want to put it as high as I can so it's got the other half of the arm is as far out along the door as possible, so it's not pushing too much weight off the door. If it's pushing closer to here, it's got to push a lot more weight. If it's further out, yeah, it doesn't need as much strength as to push the whole thing up, and it doesn't put as much pressure on the door. So what I'm going to do is just drill a hole, put these in as high as possible, and then actually just weld it in down here so it's fixed, and that will reinforce the Jesus out of it. Many rivets later, the garage door was finally complete.
So this is where we're going to put our water tank, and it's right by the muffler, so we have to wrap it in this wrap, and I've wet it. I've just put some hot water on it, and I'm trying to show Tymon that I can do it myself, but I've already asked him 5 times how to do it, and he's just told me to figure it out, so I'm figuring it out. Apparently in the last take you could see down my pants. No. So I got halfway through my exhaust wrap, and the story of mob life is... Oi!
Sorry.
I'm filming here.
Okay, go.
We got halfway through, realised we didn't have enough, had to go back to Super Cheap Auto. I've been to Bunnings twice today, and Super Cheap Auto once. I'll let you know how it goes. So this is my finished exhaust tank. I secured it with these clamp things. Hose clamps. So yeah, my physio skills have been put to use. Taping shit up. taping things up. Let me do that again.
I welded up the frames for the freshwater tank and the grey water tank. We wanted to get as much stuff from the inside attached to the outside so that when we're on the road, the inside of Mowgli doesn't look like this as much. The frames are designed so the tanks can actually slide out if they need to. It'd be difficult, but it can be done.
Wish I could get her in the skin.
So we didn't realise when we ordered the tanks. We just sort of said to the guy, we don't know where our holes are going to go, just make us a tank. And he said, okay. And we didn't realise that you needed a special tool to make the thread, and all of our options that we came up with were like just drilling a hole and plugging that up. So a bit makeshift, and we didn't want a leaky water tank.
Yeah, so I thought when I was speaking to them, I was just like, he goes, we need to drill these holes and these holes, and I was just like, can't you just leave it up to me? I'll do it, because I don't know exactly where they're going to go, so and I don't want them in the wrong spot. So can you, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, well, we need to put a breather hole in. I was like, we'll put that in this top, and then I'll figure the rest out. But yeah, I wasn't actually told, nor did I know that yeah, you can't just like Sikaflex something in, or you can't yeah, anyway, so we found a guy 2 hours north that has the tool for us. So Bex is going to go up tomorrow morning, and now we're just working out exactly where we want the holes. We can't put the inlet in the top because there's not enough room between the top of the tank and the bottom of Mowgli. So we're going to put the inlet as high as we can on the side, and the outlet down the bottom as low as we can. And that was it. Pretty easy.
So the other hole is a breather hole, so that air can flow in and out. And we have to drill another hole on the top for the gauge.
Yeah, the sender, the tank level sender. The tanks were spray painted with an anti-corrosion paint, a whole heap of it.
You scratched in.
This here is actually a technique used by tank installation companies. Don't be put off by how amateur it looks. So, Bex and I just spent maybe about 3 hours putting this onto there. It was a pain in the ass. It was so shit. But it's in there now. So, just realised I'm doing everything totally wrong. Well, I could be doing it better. Instead of doing this weird way where I'm going to need to cut out like 3/4 of the top section of this and then bolt it all together, I'm just going to cut everything off to 500mm, which is going to be the height of the garage, and then I'm going to lay ply across the whole thing, and then on top I'm going to be putting all the studs across. Essentially, they're going to be still sitting on the supports, but it's going to be already have that floor, so we can put insulation on top of that, and then we can just put the flooring straight over the top of the stud. So I think that's going to be a better way of doing it. I cut all the supports to 500mm and arranged them in their perfect spots. I cut a whole heap of dowel supports for our surfboards, drilled some holes for them and tapped them into place.
So Tymon has just made these surfboard racks. So we don't have electricity or plumbing or a bed or a shower or a toilet, but we have surfboard racks.
We're going to do the most important things first and then work the way down. So it goes surfboard racks, electricity, water, shower, so forth.
It's pretty fun now. We're starting to see progress, which is cool. And Tymon, what are you doing?
This is actually our first wall. Just doing the inside wall of the garage, so that I can't do two things at once. Give me 1 second. So that we can lay the carpet and paint the inside of the garage, and then the garage will be essentially done. Move on.
And the good thing is, once the garage is done, we'll put a roof on it, and that'll be our bed. So we'll have somewhere to sleep.
I measured up and cut the ply to size and installed it into place as our very first wall inside Mowgli. Cue the applause.
Where Tymon has made me the surfboard rack, I want to put some foam around it so that when we are full driving, the surfboards don't bounce around and get scratched on the dowel. So I just kind of had a little practice run. What I did is I had an old yoga mat and I felt a bit bad about throwing it away. So I kind of ripped it in half, and green's not really our colour scheme for our truck, but it was the more durable side of the yoga mat. This one kind of ripped apart. And so I've got my dowel. I'm going to cut the foam into little strips, and then I'm going to use this adhesive spray to stick it on, and then some cable ties. So hopefully it works, and I'm hoping that the cable ties don't scratch the board, but if I do that one really tight, fingers crossed. Okay, see how it goes. I'll show you after.
And this is the final product. Looks good. This is our tyre. What's left of him. He is good. So we're on the highway. We're on the highway, and these guys behind us, we didn't know, but these guys behind us were trying to warn us the whole time that our tyre had gone flat. I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like Mowgli was driving any different, which is really weird. It was the back right. Yeah, anyway, the whole tyre's just like busted off. Yeah, after that I knew something was wrong instantly. I knew what had happened sort of straight away, because I think I saw it in my peripherals, in the rear vision mirror, the tyre bouncing down the road. We've come off the highway here. This is the marking that the hub left. And yeah, then we had to change the wheel. Luckily there was this absolute legend Becs. Luckily there was this absolute legend Isabel. Oh man, our saviour. She came and gave us all these blocks of wood, because we had the jack and everything to do it, but we just didn't have the wood to get the jack high enough. So yeah, little saviour. And that's the rim. And now we're late, but yeah, but alive, so might need some new tyres. Hold up. That was episode number 5. Yay! What did we do?
We wanted to talk a little bit more about the cargo hatches. We obviously custom made ours ourselves, but that may be something we would have done differently. We wanted a specific size, basically because we wanted to be able to fit our surfboards in and all our dive gear and all of our stuff. So we had sort of envisaged that we wanted a really big cargo hatch. So we thought that the only way to do that would be to make it ourselves. However, in hindsight, I did actually look up to see if there was just one I could buy straight off the internet that are pretty much caravan ones, and you just cut out your hole and stick it in, maybe make a frame or whatever, and they just weren't big enough. Like, they were tall enough, but they just weren't wide enough, and I had it in my mind that I wanted a really wide one. So but realistically, we don't need a really wide one. Like, we don't put anything in sideways, all the surfboards go in straight, and for the amount of time and effort and money that I put into making those, it was still a good learning process. But if I had to do it again, straight off the shelf, I would buy 2 of the biggest cargo hatches that I could buy and just stick them into place and be done with it. Yeah. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about the tyre falling off. It was super hectic.
We're pretty lucky that we're still alive and that we didn't kill anybody. Realistically, that was one of those moments where you just go, oh wow, that was crazy, but like, so close to being totally different.
And if you're watching that thinking, this is the amateur hour, how did they not know that the tyre had blown? It's a big truck, and when the wind is blowing, it's such a beast that it just sort of rolls around, and we just didn't know, did we? He just kept charging on at 85 kilometers an hour, which is his max speed.
Yeah, he's such a beast. Yeah, if I've seen people driving along with flat tires, and I've just looked at them and shake my head, going, "You idiot! Like, how can you not know your tire is flat?" I've had flat tires before and known every time, except this. It was really windy. The truck's quite tall, and it's really windy that day, and so it is getting blown around. On the really windy days, it's a big truck. It gets blown around, and so I didn't notice. I didn't notice anything was wrong until I saw the tire bouncing down the road, and the truck went like this.
Tymon did extremely well. He was so calm. So all of a sudden it lurched to the side and swung back around, and he calmly just slowed the vehicle down and pulled over to the shoulder, and
I don't fully remember it like that. I thought the vehicle went to the side, rolled a couple of times, and I just put my hand out and held it up and came off the road.
Okay,
that's how I remember it. No, I don't remember it. I don't remember it doing this so much. I just remember it sort of like falling onto the rim, and then just guided it off. So, but your version, that does make you sound better.
It was pretty dramatic. And here's a hot tip: if you have got a Unimog, make sure the jack that you have for your truck will lift the truck up high enough for you to take the wheel on and off. So we pumped ours up, and we couldn't get it high enough, so we were super lucky. Was it Isabel? Thank you, Isabel,
yeah,
who stopped and helped. She had some pieces of wood, and we're able to put that underneath the jack and then jack it up. We also had a special tool for the nuts, the tie nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The wheel nuts.
The wheel nuts, to get those off, because you need a bit more than your normal car thing.
Yeah, well, you could use that. It just depends on how tight they are. But what we didn't have was the wood, because the axle was so low. We could jack it up, but then still couldn't get the wheel on. So pretty standard wheel procedures, really. So we had to have wood to put underneath the axle, take the jack, put the jack on wood, and then get it up high enough to get the wheel on. So the things that we have now that we didn't have is I've cut a sleeper into a few sections that I've got strapped underneath Moog somewhere, and we've also got a big crowbar. So essentially one person, probably not Becs, but if it was myself, like one person, you could roll the tyre into place. You definitely can't lift the thing, it's so heavy, and then you could jam the crowbar underneath and lift it onto the hub, and so one person could definitely be able to do it now. Yeah.
And you can see at the end of that video, I'm just so ready to go home. We were driving home for Christmas and we just wanted to get home, and we did. Yeah.
I was in the, thanks Isabel, I was in the middle of having a hand saw out, walking through the bush trying to find wood that I was going to cut off with this little handsaw.
He was going to cut down a tree so
I
that we
wasn't going
could
to cut down a tree. I was looking for stuff on the
branch.
ground, yeah, that I could. That's what I was in the middle of, and then she stopped. So a little saviour.
Yeah. And next time, our next video, we install the windows.
All the windows.
We obviously change the tyres. Start on
Swap
the electrical and plumbing.
Yeah, and just start the plumbing, and we get the whole garage finished too. So it's totally done. We're able to use it as storage. We're able to sleep on top of it. We get that done, so that's pretty exciting. That's all coming up in the next one.
Yeah. So if you have questions, please ask. We are more than happy to help. If you have feedback or suggestions, yeah, we'd also love to hear that too.
Yep. Subscribe if you liked this. If you liked it, hit like. If you didn't like it, hit like also. That really helps us out. So.
Awesome.
Ciao.
See you.
Where are you going? Paper boy, riding your bike today.